You said when you first became a Christian, um, basically your Christian friends weren't your friends anymore, and you felt very lonely. And
Yeah.
and then eventually, you got invited to the house church. And yeah, so how do you go about making friends? Because I know you said earlier on you weren't really praying about it. So did you eventually make the transition to start praying about it?
Yeah, so I was really lonely. I was super lonely. And but I wasn't desperate enough where I want to go back to those friends because again, it wasn't me anymore, and I knew the temptation I would have around those people at the time. And yeah, and that's what my mom always told me. She said, Janae, if you pray for friends, he will lead you that. He will provide you that. So, and that's what I started doing. I was like, God, I need to have that community. I want to have girlfriends that can really help me and that can understands me and not judge me. And working at Maywell, it was actually a funny story. So I work at Maywell in Richmond, and she, I love her so much. So she was sharing a camp story, and just by like the words she was saying, I knew she was a Christian. And I was like, "Are you a Christian?" Because in Richmond, it felt like it was rare to be a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yes. And I can tell that she was confident but timid. I can tell you don't know how I'm going to respond to that, like a stranger. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a Christian too. Can we hang out? And ever since then, we've been hanging out. And she invited me to her house church. So God really led me, and we always talk about it how God led me to Maywell because I was working at a different job and it was really toxic. And that next job working at Maywell, they called me for an interview, and I didn't respond until 2 weeks later. So this was already in God's plan for me to meet her because I needed that community. And God, and then I was just like, okay, let's do it. And God made it happen. Once I said yes, everything sets in motion. Like us having that same shift, us talking that story, it all fell into play. And all I had to do is just say yes and listen and obey. Because when I don't, I delay the promise. Like I still have the promise. Yeah. Yeah. It's like we still have the promise. We just kept delaying it. So all I had to do is just say yes and take that chance. And that's how my friends came to be.
And what exactly were you looking for, like in a friend? Because there are people that will say, "Oh, I'm a Christian," but their actions don't reflect that they're Christian. So, what qualities were
Yeah.
you kind of looking for?
Yeah. Definitely I know for me at that time when I was meeting Christian friends, it was more so they were trying to save me than them trying to be my friend. For me recognizing that, oh, I'm a Christian, but I'm not really a Christian, I kind of just seen the action and lifestyle. And I think coming from transition from that place, and you kind of already sees it, you kind of already saw it. So like if they definitely say one thing like biblically and then do the opposite, it's like so I was quickly to find those kind of people, but it was really the people I was encountering was just like they're just trying to save me, and everything was just like about me, and I didn't know anything about them. And it was like they were asking about my struggle, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm struggling. To be blunt, this is I'm struggling with this. But I was like, hey, how's your heart? How are you struggling? Like, are you struggling with anything?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, I have somebody. I have a mentor that I talk to, and I'm not comfortable with sharing that. And I was like, well, that's not a friendship.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to sharpen you too. Like, you can't just sharpen me. I want to sharpen you until it just turns into a mentorship that I don't really need at the time. I just needed a girlfriend that I can like rely on. And it'd be like my same age. You're the same age as me. So it's like
I know you're going through stuff.
I know, right? So it's like it's just so mind blown of some Christians just want to just save, and it's like no, there's people who are lost do want when they desire that the truth, they do want a friendship as well. So and that's why I felt like while I was walking, I was like, okay, like I am struggling. There's lots of I'm still healing from, but I still want a friend that can just hang out and we talk about just anything, like a Netflix show or something. So
A good
that's
point.
been, yeah.
Good point. I never thought about that.